Yeah, so you were in front of my old house.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
How's things?
Good. Oh, good. That's so awkward.
I know. It's so weird, like, to not look at it.
Yeah.
Do you know it's dirt.
Hi.
Yes, you moved to us, didn't you?
Yes, I've just moved here.
Oh.
We needed a bigger
I
house.
was sitting outside the house with the flowers on it. And I had a feeling, because I seen pink inside in someone's room, like, just, like, really. I know you don't.
I don't have time to look after the flowers, honestly. So I knew it wasn't mine.
Yeah. Are you off today then?
Oh God, no. I am working at 3. Yeah. Working at 3, have a private, and then I'm teaching until 7. Today's actually my quiet day. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
No worries.
I find your stories so inspiring. Like when I watch your Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, because like you live in, well, there's
Catalonia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where you're from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Spain.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, very close to Barcelona.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when did you come over from Spain then?
It was August 2015.
2015. So you would have been
21.
21. That's really young.
Yeah, just about to turn 22 in October.
Right.
Yeah. So I just finished uni.
Yeah.
I had been working and studying so much, and then
Sorry, that's your latte actually. Forgot about that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had just finished my degree, and I was also training in dance in Barcelona while I was working in an office while finishing my degree. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I felt like I hadn't really got to enjoy my university years because I was always working and paying for my rent and everything. So I was like, I need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break. It's just everything got too much, and like things in Spain like weren't very good. So I always thought if my English is not good enough, I won't be able to actually progress and get a good job, because at that point in Barcelona, like I thought, marketing was going to be what I was going to do. So I was quite set in marketing.
I study marketing as well.
Yeah. It's just I felt like I wouldn't have opportunities in dance because in Spain, like things, it's not as good as here.
Right.
The arts are not promoted or like valued enough, so it's quite hard to find.
Wow, I don't know that.
To make a living. No, not at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite hard to make a living.
Right.
Or at least that's the way I was brought up. You have to study a proper degree.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that the proper degree actually
Yep.
didn't offer me, that much.
Exactly.
So yeah, the idea was just take a break and come and improve my English and hopefully go back to Spain, and then my English would be good and I would be able to find a better job.
Right.
But
It didn't really.
no, it didn't work out that way.
And so you came here, you started dancing here as well. Did you study dance here? Or
No, so what happened? Let me see, I just
get
rewind.
that.
Yeah,
Baby
what
brain.
happened? Yeah. So one of my friends from Spain came as an au pair as well, and she was like, because I used to dance with her back in Spain, and she was like, Mariona, like, why don't we go and find somewhere to dance again together? I was like, right, okay. So then I went to Crescent Arts, and they were doing like jazz classes for adults. So we started going on a Wednesday to do jazz classes for adults, and then that was Gary was teacher.
Yes.
And then Gary said to us, well, why don't you take part in the Belfast Tempest? And I was like, right, okay, yeah, great, amazing. And then I think then when I met Maite, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Maite was in the same play. And then she told me that there was, in Crescent Arts, they were looking for a dance teacher to cover classes because the teacher had some like problems with the visa and she was stuck in America, I think. So then I was offered a job. And I was like, well, I used to teach in Spain. Like I was helping my dance coach since I was 14. And I loved to teach. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I started like covering adult classes in Crescent Arts.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I really did. And then from there, I was given as well. So my host family, their sister and people that they knew were doing like a Strictly Come Dancing competition.
Right, okay.
And they needed help with cleaning the routines. So I started taking private lessons with them, helping them, do the routine and everything. So that's how I kind of like started to meet people.
Did you just decide that you wanted to stay here then once you got like serious with your partner?
To be honest, I think I loved it. Like
Did you?
I initially came being like, well, I don't know how things are gonna, turn out. So I was like, maybe just 6 months. But as soon as I was here 2 months, I was like, I love this.
Right.
So then I decided I wanted to stay. I always say, even if I hadn't met Aaron, I think I would have tried to stay and find a job in here.
Right.
But I can't say.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I would have come home and after a year, that would have been enough for me. But obviously, like, Aaron was,
yeah,
a big thing holding me here.
Yeah.
So then when I finished my au pair year, I was like, well, now what?
Yeah.
So I went to live with an au pair as well, who decided to stay. She started master's degree in Queen's. And then I started studying as well a master's, an MBA online.
Right.
Through Open University. And then I applied for marketing jobs. And I got a job.
No way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I got a job as a marketing executive.
Right.
And it was a company who needed someone who was speaking Spanish as well. Which was like, great.
It's meant to be.
Yeah. So I got a job.
Right.
I was like, okay. That's already better than in Spain,
And then you just...
And then while I was at that job, then I was teaching as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was when I was doing that job that then I decided to start opening my own classes.
Right.
So I just rented a hall in Lisburn.
Right.
And I offered 2 classes a week and see who wanted to come.
Yes. Yeah.
It was hard. It was hard to start because obviously, like, I used to teach in Belfast, but only for like a few months. So no one knew me here really.
Yeah.
So then I came to Lisburn and I started like advertising. But I think because I had the marketing background, I was like, well, I'm going to use my marketing background to start, my own project and see, and just combining the two.
Right.
And then suddenly started to have people coming to the classes.
Right.
So yeah, I was finishing work at 5 and I was rushing to the studio.
That's so brave.
To teach.
To come from another country and just decide to start teaching dance classes. Like that's so brave.
I just loved it. I loved it. I really did. I mean, looking back now, I'm like, you were brave. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even someone, that lives here to like go out and start teaching dance classes and stuff, like that's so, for me anyway, I get so nervous, but like to come from a completely different country to a new country and like start like basically your dream, because that is your dream, isn't it, dance?
Yeah, like I remember when I was meeting Aaron the first year, we were actually one day in the car like this, and he was like, right, Mariona, like, don't think about money, don't think about anything else. If I asked you what would be your dream job, what would you say? And I remember saying, you know what, Aaron, I would love having my own dance studio. And then I said, but that's just a dream. And in my head at that point, that was never going to happen.
Wow.
Because I love dancing so much and I've always loved the stage, but I actually, the more I was teaching, the more I realized I actually loved it so much. And it got to a point with me where like I didn't enjoy like the auditions. I didn't want to put myself out there. Like I don't think I had the confidence, and it can be brutal. Like the dance industry, it is brutal. And I didn't want to be dancing on a stage for a wage. I didn't want to be dancing on a stage to compete, because even like when I was training, I didn't actually enjoy the competitions as much. I just loved the stage just for what it was, for the audience and for like where it's like the boss of it.
I know.
That's what I loved about dancing, and I loved training the studio and I loved performing on stage, but I didn't like the industry surrounding it, or it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But then when I started helping my dance teacher, and I realized I could be with kids because I loved kids as well, and I loved helping people. Once I was like, I can put the two things together, passion for dancing and helping someone and making a difference, then it all kind of like came together. And obviously then opening my studio, I could put also like my marketing background, and I was studying an MBA in business management as well, so it's kind of like everything just
came together.
Wow. And it was just perfect.
It's amazing, and it's called Dancer.
Active dancer.
Active dancer.
Yeah.
Because we took a class, me, Nathan and Beth.
Yes.
Ballet class.
Yes. And toddler ones. Yes. Oh.
And they were so nervous. They just stood beside me the whole time. But I'm going to bring them back because
it takes them a while.
It does. And I think they've never been in nursery, or they've always been with me. So see anything outside of their like comfort zone, it's like they need me there constantly.
But that's okay. That's okay. And every child takes
Yeah.
their time, and you know, we have loads of classes where like kids come on their own,
Yeah.
but we always offer like I say like a settling period,
Yes.
because you don't want to leave a child 45 minutes with me and them having the worst memory ever, because
Yeah.
they will not want to come back. You know, they will settle eventually. They all do it at their own time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, they're definitely a lot more confident now.
yeah,
They're completely.
well, not even Kian. He's my studio, and I bring Kian to his
Yes.
dance classes,
Right.
and he still goes, "Mommy, you come with me to dance."
Aw.
And I'm like, Kian, you know I'm at reception. He still wants me to
Yes.
go in, and I go
Yeah.
in with him for like 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then he's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, so I obviously want to talk about your dance school and everything, but we'll probably like jump forward, I think, or we're jumping back. I don't know which way it goes, but you had your first there like around the same time as I had Nathan. I think it was like quite similar. Kian in 2018 or 19 was it?
No, Kian is 2020. He's a lockdown
2020.
baby.
Oh yes, that was Beth. Yes,
Yeah,
we had the
yeah.
same. Yes, he was Beth was a lockdown baby as well.
Yeah.
And how was that experience then, getting pregnant and your birth? Because I know that you shared a wee bit about your birth on
Yeah.
Instagram as well. The experience of that.
Kian, oh, it was a roller coaster. Like
Yeah.
Kian, I had been obviously through the first year of my business, and I remember saying to Aaron, I want to be a mom. I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
And part of me, like, I wanted to become a mom because I wanted my mom to see him, and I knew that clock was ticking. You know.
Yes.
And to me, it was a big thing. And I was saying to Aaron, like, you know, I would like to be a mom. And then he was like, Mariona, look at your life at the minute.
Yeah.
To be honest, it was hectic. It was mad. To the point, like, I had a panic attack one day in the car, and I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I can't be doing this anymore. I was working like part-time in an office, plus running the studio. So I think I got to the point where I was like, I need to prioritize quality of life.
Yes.
So then I decided to leave my part-time job and then be fully in the studio and just, I don't know, I took a risk, and I was like,
that was a big risk.
Yeah.
I seen that on Instagram too. I
That's-
thought, wow, that's a big jump.
yeah,
Amazing.
I left my office job because with that office job I was paying the rent for the studio, because you know the way it is, like the first year you don't make any money. There, like no profits at all.
No.
So yeah, I decided to do that, and then things started to calm down a little bit. I finally had like mornings free, and I think Aaron realized, I think, you know, she's a bit more settled now.
down.
Things, yeah. And then I don't know. We were both like, you know,
Yeah.
we're ready. Let's do it.
Yes. Totally.
I don't think we really knew what we were getting ourselves
I
into
know, I
it,
don't
but
think anybody does.
so yeah. Then I got pregnant, and everything was going so well, and then we went to Edinburgh, and we got engaged.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because he actually like he got me my birthday present on the 7th of October, and I wasn't pregnant or anything at that point, but he had already planned to propose me on our trip in March. And then a few months after, I was pregnant. So I was actually pregnant when we got engaged.
Right.
And that was in Edinburgh. That was the 13th of March.
Right.
And I remember 2 days after I got engaged, I was in Edinburgh, and then we were getting all these messages that the school will have to close, and like, you know, that was the last weekend of lockdown.
Right.
And then when I came back from Edinburgh, that's Tuesday, all schools were closed. Everything had to close. So
It was such a crazy time.
yeah, I had just got engaged, and I couldn't show anyone.
Oh.
And my bump was just growing, so I spent literally all of my pregnancy in pure lockdown. And you know when it's like your first baby, when you're pregnant, you want to share that with people.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that. Couldn't go back home either. And I had just got engaged, and I was pregnant, and I just wanted to share it with the world, and I couldn't.
Oh.
So yeah, I was just teaching dance classes from home, being pregnant, up until like I think I was 38 weeks. I was at home teaching online.
Wow.
And then he came along.
And what was your birth like then? Because I'm so into birth stories. I love hearing about, you know, obviously share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. But
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Just so
I think I actually have it on my Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Kian was long.
Long?
Yeah.
I thought you meant long, like long.
Well, he was a long baby too. He was a long baby, but the birth was very long. But I mean, I think all first, you know, births are long.
Yeah.
I had prepared a lot though. A lot. Like, I'm a control freak. And I did so much research, and I don't know, I did so much like meditation and everything. I mean, I had all the time in the world. It was locked down.
Oh yes.
So
Yep.
I was said that I wanted a natural birth, and I want to be in control of it. I don't know why. I don't know why I did that to myself, but I was like, I can do this. And to be honest, one of the things that gave me a lot of strength, it was my mom's story. Like, my mom had me naturally, and I was the second. But I think I always thought, my mom, after everything that she's going through, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to trust my body. And I used as well loads of like the dance training to actually help me. So like, I don't know, when I was pregnant, I remember putting music on and like practicing my stretches. And then it was like, you know, like a deep stretch when it hurts you.
Yeah.
And then practicing my breathing and like my affirmations and everything. And somehow I did it.
You
like,
did it. And you did it in the water too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Or you were in the water first, maybe?
With
Or you
Kian, so I was at home for, I think, like 24 hours before I could get into hospital. So from the moment I started having, you know, early labor, I was 24 hours at home.
Right.
And then when I went to the hospital, I was maybe 4 centimeters, and I
Okay.
was stuck at 4 centimeters for 8 hours with Kian. And that was the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's just not knowing how long you have to bear the pain.
Yes.
It wasn't that I couldn't do it,
Right.
but it was at some point I was like, this is lasting so long.
Yeah.
So I was between gas and air, and then diamorphine as well.
Yeah.
Water. And to be honest, I love the way they did it. They kind of like keep putting it off, because there was so many times where I was like, I think I need an epidural, and they were like, well, why don't you get in the water now for a while? And then after the water, why don't we give you, you know, do you want diamorphine? And then the diamorphine, you know, gets you groggy for 4 hours. And then you can't go in the water when you're in diamorphine.
Oh, yes.
You know, so
Okay.
like this, they kind of like kept pushing it another 4 hours and another, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so at the end I was stuck with Kian. You know, I think it was like 8 hours, and after 8 hours they have to decide what to do. So I remember them saying, we need to either call the doctors and see if we have to give you like oxytocin or break your waters. And I said break my waters,
Yeah.
because I think that, you know.
Yeah.
And they broke my waters, and I think Kian was, then he arrived in 2 hours.
It's crazy how they can do that, because they've done that with Nathan too. They broke my waters as well.
Yeah.
But I had the epidural with
Yes.
Nathan, because it was like a long labour.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how quickly they come straight after, like,
Oh yeah.
you know, within like.
But see, with Jack, it happened the same thing. Well, with Jack, things went so quickly. I got to the hospital. I got assessed, and I was like 6 centimeters.
Right.
And then I went
difference.
upstairs in this what's it called, the delivery suite,
Yes.
and I was like, give me diamorphine, because things went so quick with Jack.
Yeah.
Like I went like I think in 2 hours I went from 0 to 6 centimeters when I went to the hospital. I was like, give me diamorphine. And they were like, honey, I don't think I can give you diamorphine. I think we're gonna have this baby right now.
Right.
And I'm like, no. They was like, no, because I was 6 centimeters downstairs. And they're like, no, you sound like you're gonna have this baby right now. And I'm like, no, I want diamorphine. And then they were like, right, we need to assess you. And I was like, I've just been assessed downstairs. They assessed me like, you're 9 centimeters. I was like, right, I'm still not 10. So give me the diamorphine.
Because you knew the first time out, they keep pushing it out.
Yeah, and I was like, look, I don't know if the baby's gonna come now, because my waters haven't broke yet.
Yeah.
Same thing as Kian, stuck for 4 hours
Right.
with the waters. So Jack was very hard, because with Jack, I wasn't stuck at 4 centimeters. And the contractions at 6 centimeters are not the same as your contractions at 9 or 10 centimeters. I had pushing and like transition contractions for 4 hours with Jack, and they were agony, because I just felt like I needed that baby out, which that was really intense. So that's why I asked diamorphine, because I got to the hospital really distressed, being like, I went from 0 to this.
Yeah.
And I was so distressed. But then the midwife had like the TENS machine.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Oh my
Did
god,
that help?
that was the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
Right.
Best thing ever. It just neutralizes all the pain on the back, because I labor a lot on my back. So
Yes.
the whole pain on the back was neutralized, and then I just had to focus at the front.
Right.
And I was like, this is great.
I had that in the house and I didn't use it.
No.
Now I'm like, I should have used it.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Maybe next time, if there's a next time.
If there's next time, yeah, no, definitely. I always say if there's a next time, I don't know how I can ask the hospital. Do you have a TENS machine? Because I really want it.
Yeah.
It was
Because
great.
they only have a few, I think. They only keep a few. And you done it then.
So then with Jack, I was stuck
Yeah.
for so long, and I kept like, I said to Aaron, like, I've been pushing for hours, and he's not here.
Yeah.
And then I literally begged my midwife, and like, please, you need to bring my waters. I know if you bring my waters, this baby will come out.
Yeah.
And then the doctor came.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, yes, okay, let's bring her waters. They brought my waters. I stood up and he was there.
Wow.
I was like, he's here. Yeah, like I knew it, you know, like just
you
mom.
just know, yeah.
Yeah, mom instinct. Like I knew, like I just needed
You just needed,
to pop.
Yes, yeah.
That's it.
And did you feel at any point, like in your births, like you couldn't do it? You know, where you get to that point where you really believe, like, it's like a wall that you hit, and I believe that's a real thing, because I experienced it with both. You know, you get to like a place where you feel like you can't continue, like you're at the pain, and just, you know, like that's, you know, not everyone's experience, but I know for me, I definitely felt like it was like a wall. But then once you get over that wall, you're like, yes, I can do it.
Yeah, like I can't remember like a specific time where I was like, I can't do this. I remember many times throughout the birth, me being like, I don't think I can do this anymore, especially with Kim, because it was so long.
Right.
But then I was like, one contraction at a time. So then I was like, let's wait another contraction. And I was just like this, like, not yet, just one more.
Yeah.
Just one more. And it was when the contraction was coming that every time I would be like, no, next time I'm getting an epidural. And then the contraction would go, and I was like, okay, I've just done one, like I can do another one.
Yeah.
So I just think it was like this resilience of like, I can do one more. I can do one more.
Yeah.
With Jack though, I hit that wall as soon as I arrived to the hospital, because I was just so distressed and so shocked at how quickly the things went. Well, with Kian it was progressive. With Jack it wasn't. Like just every single contraction started to intensify, and then obviously I got stuck. Yeah. At that point where like the contractions are so strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was really long. To me, it was very long. I think looking back now, I would prefer like 10 hours of like gradual contractions than like maybe 4 hours.
Yeah.
Of.
Yeah. Totally.
You know.
I think with your second, they do come quicker and faster.
I
think it's a known like thing that obviously your body's done it before, and they can kind of just slide out a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they also say with boys, they tend to like hang around more, whereas girls just go from like
that's probably mine. Yeah, mine's were too cozy in there.
I know. Two boys.
Yeah.
And what are they like then? You know, personality wise, are they the same? Are they different? Completely different.
Totally different. Yeah.
Same as mine. It's amazing.
Even as babies.
Yeah. Yeah. Different experiences completely.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is. They just come already with their own personality.
Yeah. And you were saying there, when you were talking about your birth, about your mum, like she was your strength, like your pillar of strength whenever you were giving birth.
Yeah.
And I know you have like such an incredible relationship with her. You know, just from how you speak about her on Instagram. And I know it's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah,
so
that's
obviously don't talk anything that you don't want to, but you know, you would be quite open about your experience with being away from your mum whenever you know, before your mum passed.
Yep.
That was hard enough, and then
that was hard enough.
Yeah. And then once your mum passed, then that was a completely different like situation. You know, I can't imagine you know how hard that must be, especially being so young and having your own family here, you know, not being able to go over, like in lockdown you couldn't go over to see your family. And you know, do you feel that all of that has really like made you stronger almost, and
oh god,
like changed you?
I'm a different person.
Yeah,
I really am. I think it was actually like yesterday I was writing my diary, because one of my friends got me this diary, which is like, just write letters to your mum, and I was just telling her that yesterday.
Right.
I feel I am a totally different person.
Yeah.
To be honest. I look back and I see someone who was very ambitious, and sometimes just too focused on myself. I think, not to criticize, like everyone I think matures at different points, and I look back and I'm like, I think I was quite immature. Yes, always very, very strong, you know, ambitious, and that's what I want to do, but maybe sometimes a bit selfish.
Yeah.
And not as empathetic. I just thought, you know, I'm strong. If I can do this, you know, everyone can do it. If that makes sense. I don't know.
And I think it comes with age too, isn't it?
It does come with age.
You think the world revolves around you in a way, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I think it was more like that I was quite immature.
Yeah.
And then when I opened the studio and then I became a mom, I already noticed that I started to change quite a lot.
Right.
The fact that as a teacher I had to, you know, I don't know, look for people's well-being and suddenly like starting to help people. So just like this selfless kind of like act of teaching someone started to change me. And then becoming a mom. Yeah. When you literally just devote yourself to someone. The pregnancy was hard because I didn't have my mom, and I always dreamed that I would have my mom with me the day I gave birth. My mom that summer, she couldn't come because she was getting a lot of like chemo. Right. So she wanted to come, but she was just afraid. Obviously, it was COVID as well, and her traveling with COVID and you know being with chemo, it wasn't
risky.
It was still risky, and so it didn't happen. Yeah. And it's something I always, I don't know, I look back, you know, like you give birth and you have your mom right there with you the next day. And I didn't have that. But probably if my mom had been well, maybe I wouldn't have had that either because of lockdown, you know. And during lockdown, lots of people had to do it without their parents. So I finally made it to Spain. It was actually a surprise. I surprised my mom, but Kian was already five months old. Right. Which it was nice. Obviously, it was nice. But then I realized, obviously, I hadn't seen my mom in a full year. So I realized that she had deteriorated a lot, like, you know, in a year with cancer in stage 4. A lot of things can happen. So it really hit me when I went home. I was like, okay, this is happening, you know. So then I had to come back here, and I spent Christmas in here. And after Christmas, my mom already said to me, like, I don't want more chemo. It's like, what do you mean? Like, it's different for them to tell you, you can't have more chemo than you saying, I don't want more chemo. And it's like, Aaron, I have to go. Yeah. Like I said, like, the studio is still closed. I have to go. Yeah. You know, like that feeling, intuition, like something is not right. Yes. Yeah. Something is not right. Yeah. So I went back for a week. And the week after that, my mom went to the doctors, and they told her, like, there's nothing else we can do for you. And I always said in my head, I never went to Spain to say goodbye to my mom. But I went to Spain because something was wrong. And then once I was there for a week, I was going to stay for 2 weeks. And I said, oh, Mom, I'm staying here. And my studio is not closed. I'll stay. So I stayed with Aaron for a week. My mom was told, there's nothing else we can do. And from my mom being able to walk and talk, and even not holding Kian, but more or less, she passed away in a week and a half after that. No way. So it was really hard. Right. Because even though people think, oh, but when you have someone with, like, you know, with cancer, you kind of like prepare yourself for it, but it's like you don't. Yeah. Because you get used to living with it. You get used to always having options. Especially my mom that lived with it for 5 years. We always ignore the fact that we didn't believe it. We always had hope. Yeah. A treatment will come. Like, you know, science is progressing so much. A treatment will come, and we didn't want to think about it. Yeah. And she was always the same, like, no. So it really hit us all. Like, this is actually happening. So that was in March, and my wedding was in August. Right. So. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah. That was a really hard year and a half, I would say, just with the pregnancy, lockdown, my mom, the wedding. Yes. But yeah.
And were you there for a week then? Did you say it was a week after you were there that she had passed then?
No, I was there for a week.
You were there for a week.
And then she came from the doctors that Monday. Right. And she said, there's nothing else they can do for me. And they're just sending palliative care at home. And then from there, just as the doctors just knew that she was going to die, literally. Right. They couldn't tell if it was going to be 2 months, a few weeks, but for my mom, it was a week and a half after that.
My mum always says, my mum would be quite, you know, spiritual. And she would say, you know, before her mum passed, like, she knew she was going to go, because she wouldn't, it's almost like she didn't want to go until everyone was in the room with her before she'll let herself go.
Yeah.
And I find that with a lot of people, you know, that when they're just before they pass away, like they wait till everyone's there, and then it's almost like they have permission then to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, a similar, not
Yeah.
saying it's the same, but I mean, just the way that you went over, and then, you know, it was like,
I don't, in my case, like, I always think,
Yeah.
like, my mom, she always said to me, before I die, Mariona, I need to learn to leave. So she spent 5 years, like, doing so much, like, spiritual work, and, like, she said, like, it's like just healing her soul, and she did a lot of work. And then when she said to me one day, like, it was that week before she passed, she said to me, I have everything now and I don't want to go. And I knew that moment that she was going, because she said to me, I have everything now.
Oh, yes, yes.
And that was, I think it's so hard to live with it, because I'm like, it's so unfair.
Yeah.
But I knew she always said, I have to learn to leave before I passed. And then when she said, I have everything now but health, I was like, it's happening.
Yeah. And did you leave then straight after and come back here, or did you stay?
Stayed for, so she passed and I was going to stay for 5 weeks. So I had been there already for 2 weeks and a half. So I had to stay another 2 weeks and a half. Yeah, to just sort out loads of things.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, it was tough. It was very tough.
Yeah. Can't imagine.
Yeah, I was on my own as well, because Aaron had to.
Right.
We didn't expect it was gonna be so fast. So like Aaron was like, right, Marion, I have to go back home, and I'll get, because I didn't bring my laptop or anything. It's like, well, if you're gonna stay here for 5 weeks, I'll go back home. I'll work for a week, and then I'll bring the laptop and everything, so we can stay here together for you know, for whatever. And while Aaron was here, my mom passed.
Yeah.
So that full week, I was on my own with like an 8-month-old baby, looking after my mom, who was just dying, fading away every day. And I'm like, you know what? Unless you see it, it's my brother and I were together, but you never understand what you go through.
Yeah.
Never mind having like an 8-month-old baby.
Yeah.
In the same house. It was
no
sleep. I don't know. I think I lost, I don't know how many kilos. I was like stressed, and
so
it was
already
awful.
very stressful.
Awful.
Having like a newborn, then adding all of that weight on as well.
Yeah. He didn't sleep either as well. So he had me up at night. My mom had me up at night, and then during the day, just you know, it was Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean, we had
hard.
my brother and I. We were there together the whole time.
Did you have support? I know Aaron would have been very supportive. Did you have support around you then when all this happened?
My friends from Spain were amazing. They organized themselves, and like they took turns to come during the day to help me with Kian, so I could be with my mum. And then my family as well, like my auntie and I would be very close.
That's good.
So they would.
Is that your mum's sister?
Yeah. But
I love how you speak about your mum. You know, you really almost like keep her legacy going. You know, because you're very.
I tried. I try.
You do. You speak a lot about her, and even when you do post about her, I'm like, she seems like such a like poetic woman. The way you would write about her, and is that the way she was? Was she very poetic and deep? And because I love whenever you write about her, because I'm like, I get something from it. Like, you know,
she was really wise.
Inspiration from it.
Yeah, she was so wise. My mom used to spend her life like reading so much.
Right. Oh, I love that.
She would read and read and read.
Yeah.
And she was very intuitive. But even with children, like my mom met Kian, and Kian was 5 months, and my mom was like, you watch out with him, Mariona, like he's so sensitive. And he would even like in terms like, he's got such a white light, Mariona, like this child, just be careful with him, he's very sensitive. And the older Kian gets, I'm like, my mom was so right. And with people as well, like my mom didn't even need to be able to speak English with Aaron, like she would just know. Yes. And she had this thing, and to me was always so helpful, and it's something I miss now. Like I don't, you know, every time I would speak to my mom, she sometimes wouldn't even need to know the people. Like just by talking about people to my mom, she would just, I don't know, like connect with energies or something. And my mom would say always her opinion on people, and she was, I would say like 95% of the time she was right. Yeah. So I miss that. Yes. Like I miss having that, you know, person where I could always check with her, and she could tell me like, oh, you're right, or you know.
Would you be spiritual in any way, or would you follow a religion, or would you have any faith in anything? You know?
I am quite spiritual, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm religious,
Yeah.
but I do have my own faith.
Yes.
And I think since obviously like I don't have my mum now to rely on to get all this information,
Yeah.
I think since she's passed, I've tried to just follow my guts a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before I would always go to my mum.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Mum, what do I do with this? Mum, what do you know? And I
Yes.
just trust her so much. And now I'm like, right, now, you know, you need to use what your mum told you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you use it now. So I try now to be a bit more spiritual and I think, I don't know, I think I'm getting on okay.
Yeah, because I definitely believed, you know, this day, I know not everyone believes that, but I definitely believe, you know, that they're always around, even though you can't see them, because, you know, it is true, like, energy never dies, it just transforms. So
Yeah.
that gives me peace, you know, to know that they're always there and watching, and even just wee signs, you know, you always hear people saying, like, this happened, and I'm like, you know,
Yeah,
it's incredible that they're there.
I have had loads of
Have you?
moments like this, yeah. And you know what, I'm like, I don't care if people don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I will take whatever I get
Totally.
that I think comes from my mum. And if that gives me comfort, and if that gets me a little bit closer to her, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I don't care if people were like, you're
I
mad.
know.
I'm like,
No.
it's, you know,
Yeah.
they're my
You can
coping
feel it.
mechanisms, you know. And I do feel it sometimes. Like, I've had dreams before, in the past, where I'm like, that was not a normal dream. That was not. Like, I could just feel her so much. And I've had moments where, it's
so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll explain one, because it was to me was so obvious. So we moved into a new house.
Right.
And that morning that we were getting the keys, I remember like washing the dishes, being like, okay, that's another thing in my life, an important moment that I can't share with her. Jack was 2 months old as well. And I was like, and then I started to talk to my mom in my head. I was like, okay, Mom, right. If you want to prove me that you're here, you're going to leave a feather in the new house. A new build that has been cleaned top to bottom. So if you want to prove me that you are here with me, please, you leave me a feather. And I was a bit cheeky with her, like, let's see. You prove me.
I love
it. No, I was actually quite sad, but in my head I was talking to her, being like, please, Mom, I need that. You know, I need that from you.
Yeah.
You need to prove me that you're here, because she has never sent me any feathers before. And then I said, look, everyone is getting feathers, and I'm not getting a feather, so please give me a feather. So we got in the house, and we were the foreman. You go through all the snacks and stuff like this. And then when he left, he gave us the keys. I closed the front door, and right behind the door, in the hallway, I had a feather. Right there, in the new house.
Wow. See, there you go. I believe that was your mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I started to cry, and I was like, what's wrong? And I was like, look at this.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I saw it. I saw it just, you know, a few minutes ago, but I didn't want to touch it.
No way.
Yeah, it's like, I actually saw it, Mariona, but I didn't want, you know, because it was like hidden behind the door, and then when we closed the door,
it was there.
It was there.
Oh.
And I just couldn't believe it. Well, I could actually. But the fact that I had asked her to do that for me that morning, and she did it, and she had never sent me any feathers before, to me, it was just a proof that she's there.
Yeah. That's a massive thing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so comforting.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, with your mum, because obviously these videos are about motherhood, and, you know, the fact that, you know, your mum's not here to like experience, you know, the rest of your life with you, you know.
Yeah.
Your mum's legacy then, like, you're gonna like live that basically for her as well, you know. And I think you're doing her such, you know, I don't know you as like a friend, but I mean, we know each other from like dancing, and then obviously on Instagram we would talk, but from what I see and what the way you are, like, you can really, like, she would be so proud. I know it's like she really would, because like you're so inspiring, like what you've done. You've built your own dance school from scratch, and it's doing amazing. And you've got 2 wee boys, and it's just, you know, it's just like a like
Oh,
so
no.
inspiring, you know, for other mums, you know,
I know,
as
yeah.
well, like to see that it's, you know, possible to like have these hardships in life and still show up and you know,
Oh God, yeah.
keep going.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice, and I feel like it just gives you a lot of perspective in life.
Yeah.
Like after what I went through the last 2 years, when a problem comes, and I'm like, that's not a real problem, you know.
Yeah.
And then you also learn to prioritize what things are important in life. When you've seen life vanish like this so quickly, you know,
It puts everything in perspective, doesn't
yes,
it?
it really
Yeah.
does. And I love my job, and like I think like my mom, for example, she was such a good mom, but she devoted her life to us,
Right.
and she always said to me like, don't do what I did,
Really?
because
Right.
yes, she gave her life to me and my brother, but she lost herself in the process. And then when we left the house, my mom had to figure out who she was, because all she was a teacher and a mom. And I remember telling her like, why don't you go out with your friends, like why don't you do the things that you like? And it's because she lived just for the two of us, and she made sure like she didn't want me to do that. So my mom always like encouraged me to go and discover other countries, like you can do this, Mariona, like you can open your own business if that's your dream. So sometimes I feel guilty because I love my job so much, and I try to take my passion and things and the time for myself to do that. And I feel so bad that I don't spend as much time with the boys.
Yeah.
But then I know that if I look after myself and I am happy, this will also teach my kids, you know, a lesson, I guess, that it's important to look after yourself too. And like I saw my mom being sad about her life so many times,
Right.
you know, like she suffers now from depression and things like that.
Yeah.
And that affects you as a child as well. I would have preferred to see my mom happy.
Yeah.
You know, she went through like a divorce as well and things like that. So I just wish my mom had taken the time to look after herself, not only the last 5 years of her life, just from the start, because seeing her happy would have made me, I'm not saying I was very happy as a child, but you know, it would have been nice.
Yeah, to see your mum do something for herself.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Did
that's
she
what
ever
I tried
want
to do. That.
to be anything, or did she want to be like, you know, I don't know, like a dancer? No, the way you had your
Artist.
dreams.
And
Did she have
mom was
anything?
painter. Like she was so good. Yeah. Like painting and.
She's very artistic.
She really was. Yeah. And then she wanted to. I think after she got cancer, she said to me like, you know, if I ever, you know, heal, she wanted to spend her life helping other people. She did. I mean, she was a special needs teacher.
Right.
And you know, she would always like be helping people as well. She was a very good listener. So I think she would have wanted to do like therapy to help adults going through something similar. So she wanted to heal to help people.
Yeah.
And then she spent sometimes when she had time, you know, growing up, she would also like spend time like painting and stuff like this, and I would paint with her.
Right.
So these are the moments when I saw my mom doing the things that she loved, and it was when she was helping other people and when she was painting.
Right. Right. It's so I love that about your mum, because I would be very artistic and creative and like love books and stuff. So the way you're speaking about your mum, I'm like, oh, she's so interesting. I would love to have known her too.
Oh, she was
so deep.
She really was.
Yeah. And I always ask everyone in the video, you know, what would your legacy be? You know, what would you want to leave behind for your children, and what would you want to be known for? You know, like your legacy of life. Like, how would you want to? It's a really, really hard question.
It is. God, I don't know. I think I want my kids to grow up thinking that there's nothing in this world that they cannot do.
Yeah.
You know, and that the events that happen in their life are not gonna define them for life. You, at the end of the day, and it's true, like what you do with your life, you own your own happiness, and you can decide if that takes you down or it makes you stronger. And I had to make that choice so many times. And everyone has the strength. You just need to find it. You need to pull it out of your pocket and keep going. And I just hope they see that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they don't remember, oh, my mom was always working when I was younger. I hope, you know, they remember, God, my mom, you know, worked hard for what she believed in.
Yeah.
So
That's so inspiring. Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Hopefully that.
Beautiful message, yeah. Yeah.
Because I got that from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, always just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Because you're stronger than you think, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Like, you're stronger. You don't realise how strong you are until, what's that quote? Until you have to be strong.
You don't have a choice. And obviously I work with loads of kids now, and I see loads of, like, you know, mental health, and it worries me so much that my kids can, you know, grow up and struggle in that way. And it is part of life. You will struggle at some point, but you don't sit in that feeling. You don't drown with it. You use it, you learn from it, and you keep going. Because life will hit us in so many ways. And it's up to us.
Yeah, definitely.
What we do. And we can't blame other people. It's, you know, you can't control what other people will do to you. You can only control what you do. So, yeah.
That's so powerful. That's an amazing message. To know that you're strong and you can overcome anything. Because life will, inevitably, there'll always be times when it's going to be hard.
It will.
You know, when people die and when all these, like, things happen of life, you know, and I think it's so important that we build our kids to be resilient.
Yeah,
you
like,
know?
I want, obviously, like, everyone wants to protect their kids from everything.
I know.
And I would. If I could, I would be spying my child going to school every single day, because I don't want anyone to upset my boy. But I need, you know, to teach him that it is okay to be hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not okay to, you know, let that feeling take over everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's amazing.
So
I love it. I really do. I'm inspired as well now, but, like, right, let's go.
Well, we'll see. So ask me, like, in, you know, 15 years how my teenage boys are getting on. Oh my God. I might be like, Jesus Christ, I can't deal with it.
No, it's so inspiring. I just love your whole energy and everything. So I'm really glad that you came and
It's very nice.
spoke about it. Yeah, because I think we need to, like, talk about our stories. You know, I don't know. There's just something about a woman and a mother and her story that's so inspiring, and especially just a normal person.
Yeah.
You know, we always hear, like, celebrities and their stories and.
I think we're all
influencers.
we're all superheroes, I think. See, when you asked me, like, oh, I'm so interested with their life, I was like, Aaron, I was like, my life? Like, my life is just basic, it's just mad every single day. Like, what's interesting about my life?
No. Like, you came from Spain, you know, you like, built a dance school, and you had to go through, like, the loss of your mom, but you still have managed to do so well, and that would bring a lot of people down, you know. So it is very inspiring, and it really fits with this, you know, like, podcast that I'm doing. You know, how it would inspire other mums that maybe have lost their mum, or, you know, maybe have came from another country and they're trying to build their life here. Like, that is so inspiring for them, you know. So I think it's really important that
I
share
think
your story.
Especially once you start talking about grief, like, I remember once I've been through it, I've had loads of like unfortunately, like, mums in my studio that are being, you know, are going through the loss. And even, like, my colleagues, like, there's been 3 years, every single year one of my colleagues have lost a parent. Like, the three of us have. So it really brings people together. And you know, this like saying that is, like, you know, grief is the shitty club that no one wants to be a part of, but you need that club so much, because only people who have been through it will really understand what you're going through. Because I feel like sometimes people who haven't been through a loss, they see you, like, 2 years after, and you're like, you haven't got over this, you know, you're still grieving, and you're like, you know what, you count yourself so lucky that you don't understand. And I was before one of those people that I didn't understand, because I thought, oh, grief is just like another challenge that you face, you know, you get over it and that's it. And it's not. You just learn to live with it. And it is important you have people around you that are going through the same, because it really brings you comfort to know that you're not the only one. And I've been speaking to, like, so many people going through it, especially when you are a mom. I think when you're a mom and you've lost your own mom, there is as well, like, you really want to keep your mom alive. the way you're parenting your kids. Like every time like I'm with my kids, it just brings it back. What would she have done for me? Like she would have done this. And I use a lot of like my mom. So somehow, like I always say to Aaron, like my kids, I wish my kids had my mom as a granny, because she would have been amazing. But somehow they still have her because she's in me. And the things that my mom would have said to them, I say it to them. The things that my mom would have done with him, I do it. So I think things like that keeps her memory alive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. I never actually looked at it like that, That's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to keep the conversation.
Time Jesus.
I'm trying to keep them at 1 hour.
I can't believe I still haven't finished my coffee after an hour.
I know. It's probably cold now. But all my videos have been going to like 1 hour and a half, and I'm like, no, I need to cut it.
Is that an hour?
It's an hour.
That's
but that's
great.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's
1
amazing.
hour.
But no, thank you so much for sharing your story.
No, thank you for Jesus listening.
Yeah, no, it's so inspiring, and I know it'll inspire other mums and women.
If anyone wants to talk about it,
yes, I'll put your tag underneath the video. But yeah, thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Bye.